Hello, this is Toby Slater. I'm doing my assignment 2, M1 and M2. Um, this is the M1. The photo below shows an inappropriate work holding device. Explain in detail the effects of using this work holding device. Consider factors such as safety of operation, damage to component tools and machine, accuracy and finish of workpiece, production time. Well, for one, I'm looking at the picture. 1 second, mouse, and the holding device, the clamp isn't bolted to the bench. If you was to go down as it was now, especially with that big drill bit there, into that bit, that is more likely to fling off and possibly cause damage to the operator. And also, you shouldn't be starting off with a drill. That shouldn't be getting started off with a drill that size. You start off with a drill that size, it's gonna rip it apart. You're not gonna, and as well, it'll get it through eventually, but in the process, you're gonna cause damage to the drill bit, and also damage to the block, which is not gonna get you're definitely not gonna get a decent finish of that. It's more than likely not gonna be fully round either. Let's have a look. Safety, operate, damage to tools and machinery. What else? And productions. Yeah, your production time also is going to be extended because you drill like that, your piece will be obviously not accurate, so you're going to have to redo it again, and so on and so forth, until you actually do the right procedure to drill. Damage components. 1 second. Actually finish production safety. Yeah, can't really see how else. That seems to be quite protruding quite high as well. That block. If I was to be doing that, I'd make sure the block is actually on top. I'd make sure that block was a lot lower, and say protruding about 2 to 3 millimeters above the top of the clamp there, and not way up like that. Obviously, that's making out as if that's also if the clamp is locked down. Obviously, I wouldn't attempt to do it at all in that circumstance, in that situation as it is now. Let's have a look. M2. I'm not sure whether that's going to be the correct what I've just said, but I've got stress with the kids at the moment. You might be able to hear them in the background. M2, explain the importance of using the correct tool and having the machine priority set correctly. Why must the cutting tool be set to the correct height? If it wasn't, you're not going to, if the cutting tool was not to the correct height, you possibly drill a lot further than what you need to, causing obviously more damage to your piece, or even the actual table, the bench, the drill bit itself, that kind of thing. How much you use correct speeds and feed? Your speeds and feeds, if you was to, for instance, drill too fast on a bigger drill bit, you could cause damage, snap the drill bit, and obviously moving too fast again, snap the drill bit, and also shoddy workmanship, that kind of stuff. yeah, for instance, if you was cutting a block, and for instance had to, I can't remember, use a Bridgeport, and you had to, I can't remember the word now, bore out a hole, for instance, and you was to do it too fast, you could, one, burn out your drill bit, causing it to not cut, and you'd be there for a while trying to get through, or along the lines. Also, it could obviously cause it to snap, as well as depending on what material you're using, it could also cause the material to become hot, which would obviously make it expand, and then you're not getting an accurate finish on that as well. What else? Feeds. Yeah, if you was to say you was cutting with a cutting tool on a Bridgeport, and you used to go across, and you used to cut too fast, it could shatter the tool, the cutting tool. I can't remember what it's called now. I've been off work for a while. Cutting tool, yeah. It could cause it to obviously not cut. You get a rubbish finish, absolutely shoddy finish. If you was to slow it down, you get that perfect finish. You know, it'd be a bit more. The finish would be nice and shiny, smooth, and good to look at. What else must be set correctly when you are about to use machine and components? Oh yeah, the work holding device is set true and correctly and safely. The work does not. Oh, yeah, I've already said that. The work is set up accurately, so the machine will ensure its intolerant. Constant monitoring of the machine process is carried out before joining. Measuring and adjusting and setting are done with accordance. Measuring and I'd imagine that measuring and adjusting is the along the lines of what measure twice, cut once, or measure before you cut. Correct coolant and machining techniques and drilling and tapping operations to be carried out. The machine techniques, I'd imagine, obviously, that's part of your speeds and feeds. Obviously, not drilling too fast, not thinking too fast. Yes, specific of a drawing must be referred to at all times. Correct machining procedure carried out. All features on the component will be correct and within dimensional. Was it? Yeah. So go back to that picture. Close. M1. Back to this picture. When we're looking at this picture, what I'd do to do it properly is I'd clamp it down, making sure it's true, set perfect. using a alignment gauge. I can't remember what it's called either. If you gauge it using the drill itself, the drill bit itself, well, the drill holding itself, and you'll set it along the back, and make sure it's set true, and then clamp it down. Once it's clamped down, I'd set that block lower than what it is in that holding device. Setting datums along the way, so I knew how far I had to go down across using that there. Usually a height adjuster stops you from going down so far. 2 or 3, whatever it is, I would also start with a punch. Obviously, I look at my drawing, find out exactly where I need to drill. I'd start off with a punch or a centre drill first. Then go from a small drill bit. So say I had to go to 10mm hole, perhaps. I'd start off with about a 2.5 maybe, then a 5, then an 8, and then a 9.5, and then I'd ream it to a 10 if it needed to be spot on to the actual size. What else? Yeah, like I said, I'd also set this to make sure I didn't drill too far down. So it stopped me from going into the base or going into the clamp itself. By drilling smaller first and making your way up, you are less likely to cause damage to your drill bit or to the workpiece. You'll get a spot on finish. I think that's everything. I'm not sure. So let me have a double check to make sure I've covered whatever I think I've covered everything, but on this M1, I think I've covered the safety. So obviously the safety of the clamp not being put down, your drill bit's too big. I can't think, is it? Perhaps maybe there's no guard on there. It's got an emergency shut off button on. Yep. That's not clamped down. That's protruding too high up in the clamp. Your set height is way too high. I've mentioned about the damage. If you use the drill as it was, it'll cause a lot of damage. It won't be round. You cause damage to the drill bit. You could do damage to the component. The finish would be ridiculous. Production time would be extended. So on and so forth. Close that. I know I'm rambling on and making sure that I'm going to get everything. Explain the importance of using the correct tool, and I'll have a look at the actual. Please bear with me a second. Salmon 2. Oh, I've done all that, done that. Done task 2, there you go. A video recording yourself explaining in detail the effects of using an inappropriate working holding device and setting up a secondary processing machine. Explain the effects of using an inappropriate working holding device and setting up a secondary processing machine. You're required to submit a video. Yep. Explain the importance of setting machine parameters correctly to produce accurate features on the component produced by secondary. And 3. Explain the impact of producing trial components and correct handover procedures on the operator being able to continuously produce accurate components. Producing trial components. Well, if he was making trial components, I know we're not really doing this now, but if I was to speak about it quickly now and it's wrong, maybe you could give me a few pointers of where I'm going wrong on this. The impact of producing trial components and the correct handover procedures on the operator being able to continuously produce accurate components. If you, for instance, if you're making trial components before you actually, it's like if you had to make them, first you make the tooling that you needed to produce the trial components and test them before possibly getting them hardened. You get the metal hardened. If you was to produce a press tool, for instance, and you make the tool into the drawings that you've been told to do it to, and you test it, you know, with an operator, get it tested. They test a part in it, and get them to test whatever they need to. For instance, at my work, you build actuators. If you was to, you'd make a tooling to a drawing that you've been told that it needs to be to this spec, and you would then obviously make it and then take it out, get a body and a cover with a diaphragm in between, get it pressed, and that then would, well, first obviously you'd make sure it fit on the press itself. The top tooling would meet the bottom tooling and so on. If that all was set up right and it held in place on the press properly and everything thingied and there was no obstructions between the press and the tooling, you would then get an actuator pressed from that. The operator then would press one, obviously cut it open to find out, make sure the crimp was fine, every bit of the aspects was fine, you know, the crimp wasn't too far down, too far up, it was just perfect crimp. And then if that was all fine, it'd then get signed over to the operator. It'd get sent away for hardening. If it was okay. If it wasn't okay, it'd be adjusted and retested to make sure it was fine and it was within the parameters needed. And with it being hardened, it'd then be able to produce accurate components constantly for a while. But eventually, over time, it possibly need to be either adjusted due to operator error, possibly, or just general wear and tear. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Sorry for yabbering on for 20 minutes, but probably a lot of it is a load of crap, but I think I've covered the M1 and M2. Yeah, I'll go from there. Anyway, stay safe. Again, this is Toby Slater. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.